movies, which is essentially what the original Star Wars trilogy is, you know. And most of the things that I loved, whether it's Nightmare on Elm Street or the original Friday the 13th, which came out in the 70s, you know what I'm saying? There's just no connection, so I don't begrudge a new generation their opportunity to be introduced to the same characters that I loved and went nuts about. That's why I wasn't mad about the new G.I. Joe movie getting made, even though I gotta say it wasn't very good. Was because all of a sudden there's 12 to 15 foot story billboards of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow looking super badass. And now there's a whole generation of kids who love ninjas the same way that I did when I was 10. So why would I say you can't have that unless you have it the way that I had it? You know what I mean?
The only thing I would say is I think remakes are great when done well. It's that simple.
It's got to be done well, absolutely. Like Star Trek, I thought was really great.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the new Star Trek?
To do a shot-for-shot remake of something like Psycho doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, that said, I'm really hopeful for the new Nightmare. I think Jackie Earle Haley's awesome. I'm fingers crossed that we can do something really cool with that character, which I think is brilliantly iconic and kind of got off the rails as it became more commercial. You know, as soon as you've got little kids in like Freddy toothbrushes, it's not really all that scary. Hi. Sweet tea, lady.
Star Wars trilogy. When you did the nerd line, were you in the booth at the time?
I performed the nerd stuff separately, but then I got to direct George.
I always liked this story because it was my first interaction with George Lucas, not Seth. And
I got to meet him a couple times, but never in that. So the closest thing to that dynamic, I got to interview him walking around the Star Wars archives for MTV when Revenge of the Sith came out, which was an amazing thing. But I kind of forced myself to be inquisitive and journalistic as opposed to fanboys. We're walking around like touching the Millennium Falcon. I just want to ask, and then as a filmmaker, how does CG influence, I'm trying to ask him important questions. And he just kept messing with me, like non-stop messing with me. The second I got there, he puts the Darth Vader helmet on my head, which is twice the size of my head. And he puts me first he puts the thing on my head, and I say to him, oh, you're making me look like Rick Moranis, don't do this, there's cameras everywhere. And then he puts me, there's a Chewbacca, and he puts me under its arms. So now, and I said, oh, it's like our prom photo, everyone take a picture of it. Chewbacca embracing me lovingly, and that made him laugh. And I was like, all right, okay, so you're funny. That's how I can deal with you. And so then we got to go to Skywalker again to direct him for that sketch.
And then, how did it go?
Why don't you tell it from your perspective?
From my first words out of his mouth when he got up there, he's like, looking over the script. He doesn't even really say hello. He's like, well, I guess I'm just going to be the asshole actor today. And Seth goes, that's all right.
And I said, as long as you don't mind me being the prick director, we're square.
And that was my introduction to him, and I realized, all right, this guy is just, he's got a wicked sense of humor, he's a sarcastic son of a bitch, and we love him for it.
I mean, he loves sci-fi. Yeah. He loves sci-fi and history and archaeology and adventure. He's just like a dude that got to make stuff that he thought of, you know? You might be one of the only people that knows about that. Oh yeah, yeah. They're awesome. I actually want to get Travis does tattoos. I'm going to try and get him to do my tattoo.
Was now that there's a you have Zach Quinto.
We love Zach Quinto. Zach Quinto was one of the coolest guys and super talented. I'm so excited what's happening on Heroes this season because he's getting to be a little more versatile with that show. But did anybody else just love him as Spock? Was that the coolest? Right. Right on. The tour, for those of you that don't know, we did a cross-country promotion in the States to get people excited about the release of Star Wars 2. And we offered 9 roller skating concert parties in your hometown. And we showed up, we took a bus across the country, and we got about 1,000 people at each show, and everybody skated together. And then gym class heroes rocked the roofs off of most of these skate venues, which were filled to capacity. The reason it was skating was because we wanted to, you know, have a fun event where everybody looked the same amount of stupid. It's such a great equalizer being on roller skates, and everybody, it's such a playful, youthful thing, and you kind of can't help but have a good time.
Did you wipe out?
I wiped out one time. I think you and I did it together. It was because somebody, there were some derby girls being show-offs. They totally hit-checked us with like a foot across my wheels or something. It was brutal. Brutal. But nobody got it on film.
Did you wipe out as well? During backwards skate, the kid in front of me decided he wanted to fall, and that made for a very bad day.
Yeah, backward skate was a bad idea. You should only call out things that you know how to do. We're thinking, if we're trying to judge the success of that whole operation and see if we couldn't do something like that internationally. It was a great time. It's just a very expensive thing to produce, and it's hard to make money at the actual event. We do it as a free party. Like anybody that bought the DVD got into this thing, and, you know, it was fun. You guys sound really enthusiastic. Maybe I should just scrap those plans. No? Would you guys want a skate party in here? Skate party! You know what's so funny? The questions about Fall Out Boy, will we ever have Pete on the show? I like those guys a lot. They're really just super awesome.
Pete actually did a promo for the skate party for us.
Wait, this is brilliant. Pete's so indulging. I'm like, yo man, can I get a shot of you on video just talking about what happened to you? For the promos, we did testimonials, celebrities talking about, you know, the horror show that happened when the skate party came to their town, and also offering survival tips, like ways that you can survive when Robot Chicken comes to your town. And I show up at Pete's house, and I'm like, what do you want to do? And he's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, I don't know. Do you want to be weird? Do you want to be funny? He's like, I have a chair made of stuffed animals. Maybe I could sit in it. Yes, please. How do you have a chair made of stuffed animals? And he's like, I'm a rock star. We wind up with a chair made of stuffed animals. So he's sitting in a chair